Hello and welcome to Mystic Tides Tarot. Today we are going to be doing the readings for Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra for the month of January. So timestamps will be down below. Just find your sign and click away, and I will see you at your sign. That sounded so weird, but that's what it is. Okay. Okay, and we're starting off with the sign of Aquarius. So let's see what Spirit has to say for Aquarius in the month of January. These almost contradict each other. Okay. The Empress followed, the Empress followed by the Emperor, the Hermit, and the High Priestess, and the King of Swords. Okay, let's get into this. Actually, I do want to pull an oracle card for you guys. Last time I did the readings for the earth signs, I didn't even get to this part, and I think it's just going to be better if I pull it out in the beginning so I don't forget. Thread. Okay. Okay. So, thread. The Hermit, the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Swords, the Empress, the Emperor, the High Priestess, the King of Swords. We literally have not a single minor arcana card. Like, all we have are court cards and major arcana cards. So there's like this, I don't want to say there's this major shift happening, because I feel like it's so cliche, and it's like, okay, who isn't going through a major shift either eventually or now? But Aquarius is really giving me this, like, I don't want to say this is conflicting, but we have the Hermit. So like deep introspection, right? Wisdom seeking. Then the Queen of Wands, somebody who is charismatic and maybe even has or is growing. They either have a large social media presence, or they are growing a large social media presence, or what they have to say carries heavy, big weight. And then right here we have the High Priestess, right? Duality. Then we have the Empress and the Emperor, duality. So these almost feeling like they're opposites, like, oh, go deep within and kind of be a little antisocial because you need to like work on upgrading your spiritual knowledge, or you really need to dive deep into this thing that you've been thinking about, or that's been a theme for you. But then also at the same time, like, you're this charismatic person, you can't get away from people and you show up because you have this public presence. So this looks like they're opposites. Here we have these counterparts. And then right here we have the duality. So it's kind of like you're really understanding in so many ways, because the Hermit versus the High Priestess. So you have this like on the ground work of finding this like purpose, or like diving deep into who you are, that other level. But then also the High Priestess, who knows herself, but also can understand and accept not only her own inner mysteries, but also those outside of her. So she has this inner knowing, but also this acceptance that there are some things that we may never know, which is another level of like this sage wisdom. And then we have two sword cards. We have the Knight of Swords, the King of Swords. Knight of Swords is someone who moves fast, someone who may not necessarily think too much about something before they make the moves, or whose mind races quite a bit. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing in this case, because you seem to be mastering so much that maybe you've been working on for the past 5 years, I'm getting. And the King of Swords is, I don't want to say this is your partner or this is your potential partner, but this could be even something that you're upgrading into depending on where you're at in your journey. Because if you tend to be someone who has a very like quick thinking, you're very witty, you're very on your feet, somebody can't even try to say something that's a little bit like hidden because you're going to unearth it real quick and put them in their place, right? Like that's giving this energy. But then this is kind of like you upgrading into, you don't necessarily have to clap back at everything. And you won't feel like because you didn't stand up for yourself, or you let your inner self or your inner child or your inner teen or your inner warrior down because you didn't automatically obliterate that motherfucker that crossed you. And that's just the way that it's coming up. And I don't know why. Like, I'm going to say this, and maybe this seems super off kilter. I don't know. But if you guys know who the Trap Witch is, okay, look her up on Instagram. I think she has a YouTube channel too, but she's super active on Instagram. If you look her up, this is the energy that I'm getting here. It's like Trap Witch energy. And I adore her. She is someone that I aspire to be able to emulate in the way that she communicates and that she expresses herself and the way that she shows up with her vulnerability and her strength, not being afraid to show what others may be perceiving as a weakness. And she understands that complexity as well. Really reminding me of like the duality that's like really in your face here. But she is most definitely someone who's not afraid to use that sword and knows how to do it and is pretty damn smart about doing it too. Like not just in the way she uses her words and her skill with verbs. I don't know why that came in my head, but I would say maybe like check her out. Maybe she's not your type. It doesn't even fucking matter. But I just had to tell you that because that's exactly who I was starting to see as I'm experiencing this. And you know what? I think that she's an Aquarius. So that would make a lot of sense. Now I feel like it's kind of like hijacking this reading because now I can't unsee this. So maybe this is a good place to like cut it off. And I'm sorry if you know, and feel that that's like shortchanging you in some way, but at the end of the day, you're not paying for this. Okay. So, so that's okay. And you know, with this thread, it's almost this thread oracle card. It's almost like telling me like, maybe that's a thread you need to follow. Maybe you do need to go and look up who Trap Witch is. And maybe you do need to find out how she makes you uncomfortable or how she makes you comfortable and why that is. And how this mirrors an aspect of you, but maybe also an aspect of her, because then you can see how you and her have that thing in common. And it doesn't even matter if you're a man or a boy or identify with a totally different pronoun than she does. There are similarities in all of humankind. And maybe that's another thing that you're going to be stepping into for January that you didn't think that you would be. Maybe it's an invitation to play, an invitation to put yourself in scenarios that you don't necessarily need to physically put yourself in, and allow yourself to explore what that would feel like, what that would be like. And it's super low risk, right? Because it's not like you're actually putting yourself there or putting yourself in a physical place that could be harmful to you, just in case that was like something that was going through your mind. But wow. Yeah, this was interesting. Your energy is very interesting. I'm getting soft and playful, but also like rough and aggressive with your communication, or maybe even your own thoughts, maybe even towards yourself. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to read for your energy, Aquarius. I hope you have a blessed day, a blessed month of January, and I will see you in your next reading. Goodbye. Hello, Gemini. I don't know why right now in my head I just heard twinsies. Oh, okay, this is wild. We're just gonna let this guy fly out. Okay, we're just gonna let these two fly out because I'll tell you in a bit. Okay, so yeah, twinsy. Oh my gosh, I just got it. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so like obviously like Gemini is associated with like twins, Gemini twins. This is not like something I made up or like is like, ooh, download, you know, like I'm not trying to say that. I'm also getting that you're like a little bit of a jokester yourself. But I said twinsies, or I heard twinsies in my head. Maybe it is because of that association with Gemini, you know, with the twins and stuff. But if you would like to verify, the first reading that I did was for Aquarius, okay? And they got the Hermit. I think that was their first card also. And they got the High Priestess. It was not the second card. I think it was like down here somewhere. But I think it's interesting that it's two cards that were the same cards as Aquarius. And I hear in my head twinsies. So 2 cards, twins, I don't know. Something there. I don't know if you have an Aquarius in your life or if you have an Aquarius rising or something like that. Maybe you want to hear that reading. I don't know. But that's interesting. So just thought I'd point it out. Now, there's a lot of pentacle energy here. So in the month of January, I see you being celebrated. I don't know if you work in a place that you're seeking a promotion in or if you're giving yourself a promotion if you're a business owner. But we have like this needing to feel secure with the material and in the business. And because of that, really taking on a lot of smaller tasks, having to juggle those a bit. But this pays off in the end. Like, you can tell it pays off because, you know, we have the high priestess. This doesn't necessarily mean it pays off, but stick with me here. The high priestess, inner knowing, hidden secret knowledge, you know, so if you're feeling in your gut, but also have done the inner work that tells you how to trust your gut and maybe how to run this business or how to work in this sphere that you work in, then you know the moves that you got to make sure that you're secure, right? And you taking on this extra stuff isn't necessarily a bad thing because you know how to juggle it. And due to that celebration here as well, as another confirmation in my opinion, we have the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, the master of the Pentacle suit, right? Like, you can't get any higher than the King of Pentacles here, okay? And it doesn't matter if you identify as male or female or other. Like, the King of Pentacles is going to be the peak of that suit. They are going to be the masters of that suit. And this isn't to say, oh, that a king is better than the queen. This is just the way that I see hierarchy when it comes to how we're looking at levels in a suit. And it doesn't mean that the king is better than the queen or better than this other, like, 2 of Pentacles. It's just kind of like, you know, the mastery of the Pentacles. It's that CEO boss energy that you want to be having or you want to work up to when you're trying to establish security in a physical way, in a material way, right? Then we have the Ace of Swords to the 2 of Swords. So we have this like progression that's pretty linear happening with the swords. Now, the swords, we're talking about communication. We're talking about ideas. This tells me that you're going to get an idea. And I don't know if that's what's going to lead you into being able to juggle these things to find your way into the King of Pentacles energy, or if this is a totally different idea in a different area of your life. That's kind of unclear. But this is going to have you making a decision. So this could be in the midst of you going into your King of Pentacles journey, or it could be after and separate, right? Now, this is for January only. So this means that you will be King of Pentacles in one way or another in January. More like the end of January is what I'm getting. But this decision also comes in January. So you might feel like it's connected, maybe not directly. But at the end of the day, I want to say that it is, because we have the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles is card of collaboration, of working with others. Now, we've established that you've been working with the Pentacles quite a lot, but it coming here at the end is like saying this decision is going to have to do a lot with work with others. And maybe that's something that really feels like it's a big decision because you got to a point where you kind of like mastered the Pentacles and you're kind of like, okay, like, what do you mean I have to now try to make a decision? And it has to do with whether or not I continue in this energy or whether I start helping or coaching others because you were able to get here and other people saw that. And they're like, hey, can you teach me? Because I'm stuck wanting this and I can't move on from that. Or maybe I've been stuck here and I've been juggling way too much and I can't handle it. How did you get over that? Or do you have any tips for me? And it's kind of like you in this energy of wanting to either collaborate with others and or others wanting to collaborate with you because they see this King of Pentacles energy in you. And this kind of like prompts, and maybe this is the idea that comes up, or maybe this is this indecision is like, how are your boundaries? Like, I'm getting this question, how are your boundaries? Check your boundaries. Because when you start working with other people, they are going to affect us, right? And it's kind of like everything that you've worked towards and established has cost you something. And this isn't about like making other people pay for what you had to pay for or making sure that it's even. Like, it's not about having that mindset as much as what do you need out of the exchange so that you're fulfilled? Not accepting something just because it sounds like a nice person would do it, or because a good person would do it, or because so-and-so down the street would do it. Like, you need to accept it only if it comes from the heart. Even if the answer is no, there has to be a way for you to communicate that so that you feel like you're respecting your boundary first. And then maybe there's another reason why I went 1-2, because it's yours first and then others. Maybe that's another reminder there. But yeah, for the month of January, I feel like there is this culmination of everything that you did actually, maybe even in 2025. Like in January, you're going to start seeing some payoffs that maybe you didn't see, or maybe that you feel like you were working towards that might not have come at the time that you had calculated that they would come in. But at the same time, it allowed you to really get to know yourself. It allowed you to really be able to manage areas of your life that weren't so black and white and that weren't so simple. And that's what's going to help you really get you to the point where you can be that King of Pentacles that maybe you had been trying to get to all along last year. I mean, 2025. We're still in 2025. But yeah, that's what I have for you. Gemini, like I said, if you feel called to feel called to look at Aquarius's reading, feel free to go ahead and do that. But that's all I have for you for the month of January. I hope it helped you in some way, and I will see you in your next reading. Goodbye. Hello, Libra. I'm going to do something a little different for you. Technically, none of the piles I did the same, so none of the other signs I did the same, but for you, let's pull an oracle card first. What does it even say? Oh, liminal, of course. I don't really struggle that much with these cards to read them like I did with this one right now, so that's interesting. Liminal, of course Libra comes out as liminal. Of course it does. Okay, Libra, let's see what you have going on for the month of January 2026. Okay. I'm telling you right now, it's not looking pretty cute. Oh my goodness. Jeez, can we get a break here? Oh my gosh. Well, at least there's that. Yeah, this one's a toughie. So we have the oracle card with liminal. Then we have the moon. The moon can be a couple of different things, but more than anything, the word that comes up with the moon tarot card is illusion. Sometimes it could be confusion. It could be dreams, dream work, but it could also be working with the subconscious. Shadow work as well also comes up, and there's definitely a shadow component here and or dream work component here because of the 8 of Swords coming up, the 9 of Swords coming up, and the Tower card. So 8 of Swords, this is a card of either feeling as if you are trapped somewhere, and then coming to realize you weren't as trapped as you thought you were perhaps, and or the answer was right in front of you, but you just couldn't see it because of this metaphorical like blindfold. And this could also be in regards to some limitations you may have. In January, this could come from, the pressure society puts on us with like, oh, the whole new year, new me. Like, how are you going to show up? How are you going to look different? How are you going to present as if you just lived this entire year and you survived? Like, aren't you supposed to look like super like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and fresh and ready because it's a new year, and maybe you're like so far away from feeling that way that it feels like you would come off as fake if you were to try to live by that current. And so you kind of resist that, and that's where the 7 of Wands comes in. It's like you're resisting having to do what you feel that you have to do according to other people, or maybe even according to your own inner circle. And this resistance keeps running rampant in your mind unchecked. And what this is leading to is the Nine of Swords, which is, some people call it like the depression, anxiety, nightmare card, like all of these like big, heavy words. And it can be those things. I don't want to take that away from you if you are feeling those things. I'm not here to tell you how to feel. But it could definitely just be a next step after what you were already feeling, because it's kind of like, let's just use the metaphor of running. So if you ran 4 laps and you're feeling tired on the 4th lap and you keep running and you do another 4 laps, are you going to feel less tired or more tired? The answer is obvious, right? Like, you're going to be more tired. If you were already tired at the 4th lap, you're going to be even more tired by the 8th lap. So it's kind of like just this buildup of this mental like back and forth. And then it, even though this isn't the 10 of Swords, it's the 10 of Wands, it's kind of like going back to that. This is not yours only. It's like this expectation as well. Because if it was just your mind, it would be the 10 of Swords is what I'm feeling. But you're here at almost the peak, but then you get to an ending, right? So like, we see this progression of going to this ending of you taking or carrying on too much, maybe expectations, maybe your own expectations, maybe it's all of the above, which would also explain why this energy came out this way too, why the cards came out like this. Because the tower is like, it's not even just a shakeup. Like, literally, what are you seeing in this card? It's a lightning bolt hitting this tower, and you have people falling from the tower, and you have somebody that feels like they fell backward, and then you have someone that's falling forward. So it's kind of like this shakeup, you don't know which way it's going to fall. You don't know where the pieces are going to land, but it's going to leave you feeling like you got shook, right? And all of this sounds like a lot, and it sounds intimidating, and it's like, wow, you don't have anything nice to say for January? Like, we have the 6 of Wands. This card almost feels like the star card of the reading, because it's like there's all of this, like, it feels like this mental subconscious turmoil happening leading into the peak of things breaking down. And the beauty of the Tower is that after is the star card, right? That hope, that light at the end of the tunnel. Right here, that hope is the 6 of Wands, because the 6 of Wands is a card of celebration. And it's not just celebration in the sense that like, woo, party. It's like celebration as in we overcame something. And we are now going to be able to either recognize in ourselves or be recognized by others the amount of effort and work that it took. And that's something that you haven't received to the level that you deserve to receive. So after this period of like mental, emotional heaviness and coming to like some type of like moment of shaking you, I guess is the best way I can put it right now, there will be some recognition. And whether it's you or other people, either way, like, it's amazing. But maybe it's both. And maybe it's you realizing that you were able to do something that you didn't think you could do. And you're able to be grateful for the moments that felt horrible or ugly and endless. And not just express gratitude, which seems kind of like bleh, right? But you're also able to extrapolate the lessons in it. You're able to actually grow from it. And not in a way that like, yay, your therapist is going to clap for you, but in the way that you can clap for you. And that's the most rewarding type of result I think that you can achieve. Because after a tower moment, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to survive. You're going to live. We all live. Tower moments happen in life everywhere daily to different people. Like, you will live. It's not like you're not going to live or anything like that. It's not that dramatic. But to be able to come out the other side of the tower and immediately almost celebrate yourself. Wow. Just Just beautiful. But this card, the liminal card, and then the moon coming out, and then like these mental things, um, I would advise, if you're willing to take advice, I would advise to connect with whatever type of spirituality that you resonate with, whether it's like just speaking to the universe, to spirit, ancestors, deities, etc., etc. I would really lean on that during this time because it's what's going to help get you through and not feel so lost in the sauce. Okay? So yeah, that would be my advice for you for January. And I know you got this, Libra. Like, you always do. So, no worries. It's going to be beautiful in the end, okay? And that is my reading for you, Libra, for the month of January. And I will see you for your next reading. Goodbye.